Acting Senator Chris Coons, and I really mean it. Thank you for sharing your time today. I know how
Great to be on with you again, Sharon. Thank you.
Super busy you are. All right, let's dig into the stimulus because I think that's what people are really concerned with. Talk about what you see it doing for Delaware, of course.
Well, Sharon, this American Rescue Plan, the stimulus package just signed into law by our president, Joe Biden, is going to make a dramatic difference. It's going to accelerate the safe reopening of schools. It's going to accelerate the availability of vaccines, which will help us get out of this pandemic. It'll distribute to more than 100 million Americans $1,400 checks. So for lots of Delaware families, they'll be receiving thousands of dollars to help them get out of challenges. I've heard from so many Delawareans who are facing eviction, who are hungry, who've lost their jobs, and in many ways have lost hope. I think Joe Biden, in his address to the nation last night, could not have been more positive and more hopeful about the path we're on towards getting back to normalcy.
Can I tell you, Chris, the vibe is good. I'm feeling it. I'm in the supermarket, in the community. People like this sort of plodding, humble, honest man. What a refreshing change. Do you feel the vibe? Are they coming around in the partisan Senate?
Most of the calls I've gotten in recent weeks, Sharon, have been with pressing concerns about how do I get vaccinated? How do we fix the postal service? How do I get my kids back to school? How do I make sure my parents are safe? And as the number of vaccines available has come up in recent weeks, as the number of Americans being vaccinated daily has exceeded 2 million, people are beginning to seem more hopeful. As I've had the chance for occasional encounters talking to people at the train station or at the grocery store or just on the sidewalk as I'm out walking my dog. We are not out of the woods yet, though. We've got challenging variants, mutant forms of this virus that are more transmissive and more deadly. We can't let our guard down yet, and I know Americans and Delawareans are really impatient about getting back to normal. That won't happen for months, but the pathway there is now clear, and the light at the end of the tunnel is sunshine, not an onrushing train.
Well, thanks for saying that, Chris, because I think that's exactly right. And I know there are multiple places for a moment since you introduced vaccines. At one point, I was signed up at Giant Foods, Walmart, Walgreens rather, and the state of Delaware. And I'm hearing and seeing that people are getting appointments now.
They are. Sharon, one of the things my office, the folks who work here and who do constituent service have been doing is helping people who are having a real challenge navigating websites, navigating email. Yeah. There's still thousands of Delawareans who don't have full access. And think about it, across our whole country, this is a significant challenge. So, by the way, anyone who thinks we could be helpful with either the stimulus and making sure they're getting their checks, with access to a vaccine, or who've got other issues with Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, veterans benefits, my office is 573-6345. And I know you can put up on the screen my website, coons.senate.gov. We're happy to hear from Delawareans and we're happy to go to work for them. That's the most important part of my service as a senator.
Sure. Your office was tremendous to me when my mother was living and I had a Medicare issue. So I'll always be grateful, Chris. So who is getting the $1,400 stimulus check in Delaware?
Well, for individuals who earn $75,000 or below, they get the full check, and then it fades out up to $80,000. That was a last-minute change that we made in order to secure passage. And then for a married family, it's double that. So essentially $150,000. And it's $1,400 per adult and per adult dependent and per child. The adult dependent is an addition, a change from the previous version. So in quite a few families, that could be $5,600, and it's not taxable. This is a direct stimulus payment, a check from the federal government, and you will not have to file it as income and then pay taxes on it later.
Fabulous. Chris, talk about raising children out of poverty. I know even here in Delaware, it's an issue.
One of the big changes in this bill is an expansion of the child tax credit. It goes up to $3,000 per child and $3,600 for a child under 6. This is something that's a decades-old piece of federal policy, the child tax credit, but it's never been this robust. It's also going to be paid out on a monthly basis. One of the challenges lots of working families have faced is they'll get a child tax credit, a rebate, once a year when they file their taxes and they get their tax rebate. That makes it hard to manage the budget around CTC. The other thing that was expanded in this bill was the earned income tax credit. Both of these are sort of pro-work and pro-family tax policies that'll put money in the pockets of Americans and help lift children out of poverty.
I caught you on Morning Joe this morning, and I love the AmeriCorps idea. I have always been a huge fan. What better way to provide more support in the schools where it's needed? Does it have a shot of getting really implemented as you described?
Well, there's $1 billion in additional funding for AmeriCorps in this bill that's just been signed into law. So not only does it have a shot, it's happening. I was literally just communicating with the acting CEO of the Corporation for National and Community Service, which is the federal agency that delivers on the promise of AmeriCorps. Now, it's actually administered at the local level. Every state has a commission that has volunteers from the nonprofit sector, from the for-profit sector, from local government, that makes decisions about which programs to approve, which programs to expand, how to do oversight, and how to help expand the reach of AmeriCorps. Paul Calistro, who's the head of West End Neighborhood House, I'm sure well known to you, is the chairman of the Delaware Commission. I'm actually a former commissioner from many years ago. That's how my wife Annie and I met. We were both serving on the Delaware Commission on Service. We were appointed by then Governor Tom Carper. So there are national AmeriCorps programs like Habitat for Humanity or Teach for America that have dozens of sites throughout the country. And then there are state-specific AmeriCorps programs where a local nonprofit can apply and get the opportunity to have AmeriCorps as part of their service platform. This expansion, this $1 billion, will facilitate a broader role for AmeriCorps members in public health in responding to this COVID crisis by helping with vaccination, with testing, with contact tracing, and with other public health related services, with education, with addressing learning loss, with hunger, with supporting food banks around the country, and with conservation. Delaware has long had a good AmeriCorps program through our state park system. Virtually every state has an AmeriCorps program that does some public land conservation work as well. So it's a broad range of opportunities. Year in and year out, Sharon, there's many times more young people seeking to serve through AmeriCorps than there have been slots available. There's also senior service programs, the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, or RSVP, and the Senior Grandparents Program. All of this is available at AmeriCorps.gov, and I hope folks will take a chance and look at the service opportunities that are now going to be available.
And maybe your man Brendan can give me a recommendation for somebody in Delaware that we can have on the program and learn more about it. I'm all in on AmeriCorps. Final question for you, Chris. What about small business relief in Delaware? Our restaurants, our arts organizations, gig workers. Any hope there?
Of course. There are two bills that I was a co-sponsor of. One was the Restaurants Act and one is called Save Our Stages. Both of those are in this bill. There is $25 billion in specific funding for restaurants in this bill. As you know, the two rounds of PPP, the loans that become grants that we first passed a year ago in the CARES Act, those are available to nonprofits, widely accessed here in Delaware. Literally tens of thousands of small businesses and nonprofits have applied for, gotten PPP loans, which have now turned into grants. The second round of PPP, which was a part of the $900 billion bill signed into law in December, was specifically targeted at some of the smaller businesses because the first round, a lot of the money actually went to fairly large businesses, nationwide chains. But given the ways in which this pandemic has particularly hit independent performance spaces, nonprofits in the arts, and restaurants, we put significant, robust, additional funding dedicated to those in this package. My website, coons.senate.gov, has long had a frequently asked questions section about these different relief programs and packages. We are updating it right now for the American Rescue Plan, and folks who are interested in learning more about specifically how their arts organization or how their nonprofit or how their small business can benefit are urged to look at my website first and then call my office if it's not clear. That's 573-6345. And Delaware's SBA office has partnered well with a very wide range of local lenders, from the largest banks like Bank of America to some of our regional banks like WSFS to some of our local credit unions. There's a lot of different avenues folks can go through to get resources for nonprofits, arts organizations, and restaurants.
Senator Chris Coons, you're a busy guy, so I'll let you go. Look forward to speaking with you again. And remember, no Chicken Little politics.
Thanks. Great being on with you, Sharon.
All right. Take care. Thanks for the time.